We're back once again in the Lighthouse Diary, Outdoors Edition, as you can tell. Um, First time doing a Lighthouse Diary on top of a boulder, so shout out to this boulder, okay? We should give a name to this boulder. We'll talk about it, we'll talk about it. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, some themes, well, some realizations about um, what from when I was a child, like they came to me last night. And I figured I would talk a little bit about it because, um, yeah, I would just carry so much shame, like even into adulthood, even into womanhood. Like I would just have like this um, shame from early years of ableism, and oh my goodness, oh my goodness, I was just, and I look back on those times, and I thought to myself, I really didn't have anything to be embarrassed about. You know, it was just one of those things, and but yeah, the long and short of it is that, when I was a kid, I would get laughed at a lot because, I would just come across like I wasn't good at a lot of stuff. And yeah, obviously, kids, they found it funny. Um, I don't know why kids find it funny, but they do. I don't know if it's the same kind of dynamic with kids these days, but um, yeah, I would just find myself kind of perplexed, is that the word, and confused, just wondering to myself, like, what's the big deal? Like, I'm not naturally, you know, inclined to this thing. I'm not naturally inclined to that kind of thing, but why is it so funny? Like, why does it deserve to be laughed at? Why do I deserve to be laughed at? You know what I mean? I would just always ask that in the back of my mind, like, since I was 6, so, majority of my life. So, yeah. And I would just carry those feelings into every chapter of my life, unfortunately. Like, say, for example, on a job or something, and I would look like the weak link, but, you know, I would have like little unexpected tricks up my sleeve that, would be appreciated like once in a while, you know what I mean? And yeah, over time, I was starting to acknowledge this in my teens, but I wasn't fully, grasping it. Where I was trying to come to terms with the fact that, like, you know what, when it comes to anything that I do, even if it comes across as like, oh yeah, she's so like talented at like this, that, and the third, the reality is like I was just one of those people where it's just like I became skilled at that thing. I became like, you know, a craftsperson of that thing over time. I did not wake up like this. I was not born like this per se. You know what I mean? Like it was just something that I had to hone over time. Like whatever it is, like fitness, so on and so forth. Like even now, like as you notice, like I'm not a guru when it comes to tech. I'm not a guru when it comes to editing. I'm not a guru when it comes to, talking to you through this screen. You know what I mean? Like I'm still learning. And yeah, I'm just even now trying to kind of give myself that pep talk, like, you know what, I'm a lifelong learner, and it's not something to be embarrassed about. And it's just one of those things, like for me anyway. I saw this meme. I wouldn't necessarily call it a meme, but it was more like an inspirational post, right? um, Maybe I should try to find it and like link it. But yeah, it was basically saying how every child opens their gift at a different time. And that just really resonated with me. I just feel like, you know, there were like a few glimpses, like here and there, like sprinkled throughout my life, where, someone would be so kind as to come along and be like, oh, like you really have skills here. Like, oh, you're really strong here. Like, oh, you're really gifted here, and yeah, I would just like really try to internalize that kind of stuff as much as I could. And but unfortunately, like I would internalize it on such a personal level that, say for example, like if those specific people changed their minds about me and decided like, oh, I guess she's not that good at this, that, and the third like I thought, then I'm just like, oh, I would find myself, going through nights where I would cry about it. And I'm just looking back on it, and it's not to like invalidate my younger self like feeling sad about it, but it's just I was basically crying over people who changed their opinion about me, and it's just I did not, I did not think of it that way, especially like being a kid at the time, and or being like a tween, an adolescent, like, at the time. But yeah, I was literally just reflecting on that. I was walking down Birchmount, and I literally just asked, thinking out loud, what's so funny? I actually don't get it. Like, what is, like, I don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get how that was so funny. Um, but yeah, I had a session about like almost 2 weeks ago with with a support worker that I meet up with in North York, and yeah, she was just basically letting me know that sometimes people are just in the mood to kill your mood, and I have to keep that in mind going forward. And I hope that if there is someone else who needed to hear this, I hope that this was encouraging to you and letting you know that you're not alone, you're not a weirdo. If like you don't know what your talents are, if you don't know what your gifts are, and like you're, maybe like you're an older kid, maybe you're a teenager, maybe you're an adult even, and like, you still don't know what your talents are. I'm in the same boat, and it's not something to, feel ashamed about, feel embarrassed about. And, anyone who wants to make us feel sad about it, it's just like, just be like, okay, I don't get it, but all right, It's just like, I mean, that's your mood, but like, I want to have a good mood today, so like, you can sit over there. Um, but yeah, I forgot what scripture this was referenced in, but apparently Jesus was talking about how it doesn't really make any sense and it's kind of not useful to compare yourself to somebody else. So for someone to like know their gifts from a really young age, and like say like you're like me and like you still don't know what your gifts are at like after childhood, it's just like it's foolish to compare. It makes no sense to compare. You know, we're all individuals who have, unique needs and paths and so on and so forth. So it's just like we're meant to complement each other, but, I know society is set up the way that it's set up, but we don't have to necessarily compete with each other if we don't want to, so or like compare ourselves to anyone, because it's just like apparently according to Jesus, let me know if I'm wrong though, it's just not necessary to do that. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm still working on like learning that and like taking that in for myself. So, but yeah, I hope this was amusing to some degree. um, and if not, you know, still stay safe, stay cozy, stay sincere to your healing and adventurous self, and see you in the next Lighthouse Diary entry.